Hello, it is Theo again. I have something fun planned for you today. So instead of just walking you through our application, for our demo, we're going to take you through a real-life anti-cancer compound optimization campaign. This is from a paper we found from Shandong University and Rutgers University, focusing on anti-cancer compound solubility. We can show you how our application, Navexis, could have further refined and reduced the cost for these two universities. Victor will walk you through the application. So let's see how much synthesis those uni could have skipped and how much money they would have saved. Over to you, Victor.
This molecule was found by the team to be a good candidate for a lung cancer targeting compound, but it's limited by its solubility. In fact, the team spent 9 years between finding this compound and optimizing its solubility. Navexis aims to make this process much quicker than that. A chemist can draw the molecule in the workplace, like so, or paste the smile string in this text box. But for a whole library, the easiest way is to just upload an entire CSV. The user can then configure what molecular properties they want to predict. Right now, we are looking at two core predictions central to medicinal chemistry, log P and solubility. Both of these features are critical to a good drug, and in broad strokes, the log P determines where in the body a compound will go, and solubility determines if it's going to go at all. These other properties that we're working on, they will deal with how the molecule is handled by the body, if it's toxic, and it's the next step for us. So, for this compound and the next few, we can load the molecules into the workplace, and then the chemist can click through to ensure that the compounds are correctly structured and that there are no mistakes. Now that all compounds have been loaded, we can submit the predictions and predict their molecular properties. Looking at solubility, we can see that the solubility of the first two compounds is not expected to increase, and increasing towards the middle of the series, before having some more compounds in the middle of the series that are also not expected to increase. While these compounds in the middle, towards number 10, while these compounds here represent rational choices in molecular design, to make them physically would cost time and money, whereas our engine already predicts they're not going to be soluble. With the synthesis of molecules of this complexity level costing around $1,000 to $1,500 per synthesis in reagents and labor, this is a non-trivial cost. Now, a lot of in-house models that chemists develop significantly drop in accuracy when taken outside of its domain of applicability, but the models themselves are unable to gauge that. Navexis implemented two measures that show how confident the model is. There's an internal confidence metric built from related compounds, which describes how similar these compounds are, with similar compounds being shown below, so which the chemist can interpret at a quick glance to see how similar the molecular space is, which we can see here. The molecules are not particularly similar between the two groups. This provides a quick internal calibration. The other tool for predicting confidence is the PCA plot. This plot represents every compound that the molecule has learned from, projected into 2 dimensions. Now, thiazolidinone and related compounds sit right here in the center of the main bulk of compounds, but the model still has seen some molecules like it. These two aspects provide calibration and white box the model, so it doesn't just provide magic numbers that the chemist doesn't know the confidence of. Navexis also describes and predicts other useful properties. This radar chart shows if the molecule is drug-like according to common rules of thumb for development of these kinds of small molecule drugs. The chemist can see at a glance whether the molecule fits into the drug-like envelope and which direction is explored. Unsurprisingly, for this molecule, you can see that the solubility is a little low and molecular weight is a little high. So ideally, the chemist should seek to improve the solubility while reducing molecular weight. We can also predict at what pH the molecule will become charged, this balance point known as pKa, shown right here. This is crucial both in laboratory settings, in planning reactions and purifications, and in predicting the behavior of the molecule as it goes into the first acidic stomach and then into the basic intestine.
I will now pass it over to Theo, who will explain our agentic AI roadmap and the future plans for our product.
Thanks, Victor. My vision is that we will keep refining our model, and I already have two key upcoming features in mind: a lab data ingestion workflow and an agentic mode. The lab data contains valuable insights that often get dismissed because this is routine. This is what we have heard from the dozens and dozens of chemists that we have spoken to. Purification traces, lab observation, oil purification results, and reports of precipitation have often been dismissed as training data because it is hard to convert into predictive signals. However, Navexis will integrate this and more in an automated data ingestion workflow that aligns the model to lab reality with no additional experiments required. I'm going to shift your attention to my beautiful drawing here to talk about the agentic build. The agentic element will be built on the API endpoint that already exists in the website demo shown before. We're going to take this one step further. By ingesting the laboratory reactant data, it generates a chemical universe of what the scientist can make. Before selecting the compound that will combine both being closer to the parameters that the scientist is targeting, as well as improving the performance of the model in future runs. The scientist will set the priorities. What features to optimize, what value to target, what scaffold to preserve. The agent will call on the number of tools, including synthesis planning, uncertainty-aware models, which predicts how much new information each compound can generate, and of course, base predictive tool. As the lab uses Navexis for a project, the program adapts the lab results, converting a global model into a locally specialized one. Each result you generate makes the prediction better. We are also using an adaptive model to ensure that the data never leaves their environment, increasing cybersecurity. With the agent, the chemist is able to get planning support as the model knows what is available in the laboratory rather than just suggesting pie-in-the-sky idea, and can actually balance novelty with finding the correct compound with the best balance of properties. All of these tools, the data management, the synthesis awareness, the agentic planning, are not present in off-the-shelf programs and represent a real value addition on top of predicting molecular properties. This brings us back to the anti-drug case study. Navexis prediction alone, with no ingestion or agentic build, has already flagged half of the compounds in that study as not valid. In that small study alone, 15 syntheses could have been avoided, which represents a saving of around $20,000 in one optimization cycle. Now translate this to hundreds of thousands to millions of compounds tested each year. Our additional features, the data ingestion workflow, would also further improve accuracy, eliminating even more poor performing compounds before they hit the lab bench. And adding agentic AI will speed up lab turnaround times and simplify the workflows for chemists, meaning less browsing the lab stores for chemical and trying reaction that may have been done years ago. Navexis ultimately is a chemistry tool built for chemists by chemists. Our model is already being tested around Australia by medicinal chemistry teams, already saving them months of time and synthesis and thousands of dollars. Our goal is to accelerate our roadmap and make this better and accessible for every chemist, and we'll love to show you more.